This is insane. What did he do? What is this? What was this? Get out! That's disgusting! There we go, buddy. There we go. What are you doing? This is unbelievable! How's everybody done this?
People keep asking if I'm back, and I haven't really had an answer. But now, yeah, I'm thinking I'm back.
Welcome, everybody, to the first ever live edition of GTFO Overwatch, GTFO, you know. A lot has changed. As you're probably aware, we haven't been around in months. How many months has it been, Fireclaw?
It's been a lot.
Jesus, you're loud as fuck for me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Probably like 5 or 6 at least, right?
Oh, yeah. I guess that's a thing that I was going to bring up later, but it's been 5 or 6 months. We're coming back. Lots going to be changing around here. First and foremost, quite obviously, we're live right now. So from now on, this is going to be a live show in addition to everything going up on YouTube afterwards. It's going to be a lot more casual, and there's a couple of reasons for that. First and foremost, making a YouTube show is really fucking hard. We did a lot of scripting before, and by that I mean a minimal amount of scripting, and it was kind of stressful and difficult, and I work and can't really do all that. So that's the first thing. Second of all, as many of you probably know, Sideshow is no longer streaming. He's heading back to join the Overwatch League talent desk, so someone's got to be funny around here. That's what we're going to be doing from now on. And that leads into my third thing, which is Super was always on Sideshow streams. I really want Super to talk to us. So that's kind of going to be our overall goal of this whole streaming process. Is going to be we're going to get Super onto this show. Obviously, we're not quite there yet. But
Get that banana brain over here, right?
I want Super on the show. So, for those 3 reasons, this has transitioned into more of a casual setting. Not so much the whatever the fuck it was before. We are allowed to swear now, too.
Poggers.
Yeah. Which is nice. So what we're going to be doing today is basically just talking about Stage 1, because we haven't been around to discuss anything that's been going on. So as you can see on screen, we're just going to be talking. I don't know if it's going to be on screen in the YouTube video. But as you can see on screen, if you're watching live, on screen if you're watching live, we've got the standings right here. We're basically just going to be going down, talking about each team. If anyone's watching and wants to put some questions in chat, we are going to be answering any questions. If there are any questions that anyone would like to go ahead and throw in chat, so feel free to do that just as we're talking, and we will get to them when we can. Fireclaw, is there anything you want to say? I've kind of been rambling here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about some of the highlights of the stage and what we think in a little bit, but I just want to probably get out of the way that, like Gryf said, it's a little more casual. We think it would just be better kind of for the viewer. They'll feel a little bit more connected to us. It's definitely for us, too. It's definitely for us, too, but it'll also be better for the viewer. The viewer won't feel like they're watching a video as much as they're interacting with.
We're not talking at you. You're part of this conversation now.
That's the main goal. But as for anything else, I think a good place to start for at least the content would just be the stage like results. That's what we have up right now. So
you can see them right there on the screen.
I
was kind of thinking what we could do is just kind of run down each team. All right, we're just go like down the list and kind of give some thoughts on where each team is at. Just because as we go down, it's kind of giving the idea of, where they are. They can see it on the screen too. And I just think we can talk about each team. I have a lot to say about the first team.
I was gonna say it's funny you said go through the down the list, because like the first one I want to talk about was the Titans.
The Vancouver Titans.
I want to talk about the Titans. I've been dying to talk about the Titans all day.
Let's talk about the Titans. All right.
Overrated.
Get there. I see a lot of buzz about the Titans. People
overrated.
Saying 7-0. People saying Bumper's the best main tank in the league.
That's a joke.
People saying they're better than New York Excelsior.
They
Fireclaw?
might be. They might be the second best team. I wouldn't even give them the second best team yet.
They may be. I think there's still a lot we have to see. There's a team pretty far down the rankings that I have a lot to say about as far as potentially being.
But let's keep on topic.
Let's go. Let's stay on the Titans. I want to talk about the Titans.
So, roster. Let's talk about the roster straight up. Bumper.
Okay.
Bumper's a feeder, right?
Bumper feeds. Bumper feeds. And everyone knows that. Okay. Everyone knows this, and people are going to try and justify it, right? They're going to be like, "Oh, it's part of the strategy. It's part of the strategy. They have Bumper go feed. It's like they're calling him the new Miro, like Feedston. It's not Feedston. The dude just feeds. I watch these games. The dude's just running off doing his own thing half the time. I don't even know how he ends up. He's like halfway across the map while the rest of the team is trying to fight it out on point.
I remember on Volskaya when he charged, I think it was an enemy Sombra or something, off the map, and they ended up losing that point because Bumper charged himself off the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they won that map. They will not win that map against a New York or a Shock. If they make a mistake like that, especially in the playoffs where the pressure's amplified, where teams are trying a lot more than they probably are in the regular season, a mistake like that is not what a top-tier team makes. I have never seen NYXL make the types of like mistakes that like an individual like Bumper makes.
Exactly. You can't. If there's one thing about NYXL, and we'll get to NYXL, I'm just gonna say this briefly. They're so crisp. They're so dominant in their performances. They feel like a cohesive unit. Vancouver Titans feel like a 5-man cohesive unit, and then there's this big old German man off doing his own thing.
Bumper's jerking off in the corner while the rest of the team's trying to win a match, and like that's not what a top team does.
No, that's not to say. Okay, we've ripped on Vancouver a ton.
Let's. I want to talk
and
about
Bumper specifically.
I want to talk about Twilight and Seomin Soo. They're my two favorite players from the roster.
Seomin Soo, incredible. Twilight, equally incredible. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great pieces on it. They're the number one team right now. Best map differential, undefeated.
They are not a bad team, which I think it's important for us to say because we were ripping them up there a little bit. They are not a bad team, but
for sure.
So,
it's just that I feel the need to say this, like, because no one. I feel the need to kind of just pull them down a peg, a couple of pegs, actually.
Yeah.
It's not because I think they're a bad team. It's because I think they're so overhyped. It's because everyone's saying, best team in the league, better than New York Excelsior, which is a joke. A joke, all right? 3-2 Guangzhou, 3-2 Chengdu. I mean, Chengdu's look good, don't get me wrong. Nix will 4-0 them, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah. And I think it's just like so funny how much hype this team had coming in, and then so they're the runaway, right? They're like, this team's going to be really good, and then I don't want to take away from their achievements. And the team that both of us support, Philly Fusion, are in the same boat where they had an easy.
No bias is here. No bias is here, though.
They had an easy schedule.
They did.
Vancouver had the second easiest schedule in the league, I think, is what one of the stats was.
Yeah.
Based on like the teams they played win rate. So like.
For real, I saw a great statistic. So everyone's talking about, oh, Vancouver's so good. It's going to be Vancouver versus NYXL. This great showdown. Vancouver's played one other team that's in stage playoffs. Only one other team in stage playoffs. Vancouver has gone up against. Did you know that?
I didn't actually.
They haven't faced off against any of these teams, and people are calling. Who knows what's going to happen? No one has any idea what's going to happen. I'm saying the people who are calling for this.
Did they play Shock? Is that who they played?
I don't
even
remember, bro.
Because I don't think... Because, like...
I can pop in.
No, that's fine. Back on Vancouver. They haven't played a team in the playoffs. Like, we have no idea where the playoffs... That's where you're going, right? We don't know what's going to happen besides...
Exactly.
New York's gonna be going. And people are already assuming that somehow Vancouver and New York are going to make the finals.
It's going to be Vancouver. All I hear... I've been getting Vancouver, New York, everything, Vancouver, New York. I say, I got to go up here. I got to get these finals into the guy's goddamn hands.
Quick shout out to Jay Janu. I think he's looked good. I think.
Oh, yeah, no. Really,
I want to point out, I'm not a big fan. People are calling him the new Poco. Poco got those bomb kills in the non-goats meta. Jay Janu throws him into gravitons. I don't think it's the same. I don't want to take any
No bias here.
No bias here. No bias here.
However,
I think
getting raw bombs, getting unlubricated bombs versus getting goats bombs, it's a very different story.
Very different story. So, Bumper Safeeder, Jay Janu, Twilight, Seomansu, I think are all very good. I really don't know much about. Is it Slime? Is there Lucio?
Slime.
I haven't heard too much about him. I've only seen a couple Vancouver games, three of them, I think. I haven't seen too much. I mean, he's obviously a solid player, but I'm curious to see which of these pieces in their roster collapse under either the pressure of a good team or just the pressure of a high-stakes game. Because a lot of times you'll have guys like that look good, but in these high-pressure situations, they're not able to come through. And whenever they face real talent, they kind of look a little bit worse for wear. I mean, Birdring is the best example. Birdring can look good sometimes, but in those high-pressure situations, he just kind of collapsed. I'm curious to see if Vancouver has anybody like that.
That is very true. That is very true. I don't know, though. Like, do we really... I mean, they've been in high-pressure situations. I guess that's where I'm coming from. Like, this is a roster that's been together, not obviously quite at this level, but they've been in very high-pressure situations, and they haven't choked.
The league is young.
They are chokers. They do have a reputation of being chokers.
I am not sure that you can consider contender finals as like the same pressure situations as like an Overwatch League playoff match would be. It's a young league. Maybe it is. But let's not forget this roster couldn't win whenever there were OWL players in the Apex.
Chokers.
Chokers. So it'll be interesting to see. I think we've covered them pretty well. I mean, obviously the top tier teams we're going to talk about a little bit more probably. That's
I
just
got a lot to say about lots of these.
I mean, I've got a lot to say too, and we'll get through them all, but we do have to keep it moving. So why don't we hop on to New York?
Yeah. Okay, New York. Best team in the league.
They're dominant.
Pretty handily.
I hate to see it. You hate to see it. You hate to see it
because you didn't like coming off of last year. You know, Philly upsetting them in the playoffs. You're like, they're not this unstoppable force. You know, they can be beaten.
That's true. I would even go a step further. They come out in week 1 against a Boston roster that just traded Gamsu. They look rough. Boston doesn't seem to be dominant, and they barely squeak out a win at 2-1. I mean, you think New York's mortal, beyond mortal.
You thought it.
You thought.
And then the rest of the stage happened, and you're like, okay, so this is going to be just like last year then. Except not the way it ended.
I'm a little disappointed. No bias here. I'm a little sad
No bias.
gets to stay on his role and Carpe doesn't. I feel like that's
true.
Jay Jonak up a lot more, but the man's zen is insane. I don't want to go back to Vancouver, but people have been trying to say Twilight's better than Jay Jonak. It's a joke.
But it's not true.
Jay Jonak's a monster. He will carry this team forever.
And they got some
but let's talk
good
about
couple
some
pickups
others.
this year, huh? Good
Nene,
couple pickups.
man. Nene's
Nene,
the deal.
That dude's solid.
I mean, their roster interests me. You have the 5 DPS.
The 5 DPS. Let's remember they did just trade Arc.
And they have traded
They
Arc.
just
so
Arc gone,
two
booted to
supports.
Washington.
They're down to 2 supports, 2 tanks, and 5 DPS. And furthermore, Pine, hit scan player, Sabiobi, tracer player. And this is a rough grouping. Obviously, these guys are all pros. They can flex. Nene, we haven't really seen. I don't actually know what he plays. He played for, it wasn't XL2 Academy. He played for, maybe it was. But he replaced Flower, who hasn't looked very good. Libero, very, very good on the
You love Libero.
You'll love Libero. But I want to specifically talk about Flower. One of the Overwatch League casters was talking about how, or maybe it was Super. They were talking about how the World Cup is like, it's fun, it's entertaining, the fans love it, not a great display of talent. Fusions was discovered, yes, but like Flower rode an Overwatch 17 World Cup performance, not only into the Overwatch League, but into the best team of the Overwatch League.
All in that one performance.
All in one performance. So I think Flower, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him dropped or traded or something. We obviously don't know how the league's going to be, but what use do they have for him? I think Pine's at least shown that he, although inconsistent, he can make big plays. You have Savioli for Tracer. Nene replaced Flower on, I think it was XL2, as the DPS player in contenders already. Why keep Flower?
Maybe they got something up their sleeve, though.
I mean, there are a lot of teams that might need a hit scan DPS. There are a lot of talented DPS in the league, but who does Washington have, right? I don't even know their roster. Let's check their roster real quick.
You don't even know their roster?
No, I don't know who they have as their DPS players. Corey and Stratus?
They have Otto.
Otto's a projectile.
Yeah, he doesn't play hit skin.
So, like, as far as...
Doesn't Corey play Widow, though?
I don't know what they play, but are either of them better than Flower?
I think Corey's a Widow player. I don't know.
So, the New York roster interests me. We've talked about the roster a lot. They dominated the stage, right?
Yeah, they are extremely dominant, true. If I had to pick a weak point, main tank. And people are going to disagree with me on this. They're going to say, that's ridiculous. He's so good. Mono's great.
I don't necessarily agree with you, but I
No.
know where you're going.
Okay, it's not that I think he's terrible. I just don't think he's top 3. Which, if you look at most roles on that New York team, almost everyone is top 3, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Up in that range.
4 people.
I don't think Mono is.
I think they have 4 people in top 3, but I think Meko is less important.
Solid.
You think?
What? You don't like Meko?
I think Meko is less important to the Diva role than Mano is to the tank role for NYXL.
It's an interesting take.
Main tank, although it's getting resources pumped into you and the job isn't necessarily hard at this pro level, like the most important thing the main tank needs to do is not die. And Mano is excelling at that, especially in the GOATS meta. And although that's because they build a whole bunch of support around Mano, B, New York has a more passive play style, and C, anybody that tries to come close to Mano is given death by Jay Jonak. I still think Mano does a really good job of putting himself in the right position. He doesn't have to make a lot of high pressure, high difficult decisions. I don't think he's sitting there. I mean, we don't know their comms. I could be completely wrong, but I don't think he's the one they look to make the play. I think they look to like Jay Jonak and Nene.
Okay. I don't think he's capable of making the play. So I'm about to come up with an extremely hot take for you. All right. This is piping hot. This is coming off the grill. All right. It's sizzling. All right. Here we go. Hot take.
Yeah.
I think a team like Philly, a team like Chengdu, have an opportunity to exploit Mono more than other teams can. All right. Because Philly, we've seen have a really, really strong Winston Goats. Chengdu, we see have a really, really strong just fucking whatever they want to do. Just Hammond, fucking 4 DPS. All right, what I'm saying is, if you run straight Goats into Nixel, they're going to cover that weakness. If you try to target out Mono, I don't think he's a playmaker, right? But if you try to target him out on not being a playmaker, you've got a Jonak in your face, all right? You've got their extreme coordination kind of getting them out of there. But I think if you go with a little more mobility, if you go with something that isn't just straight Goats into them, maybe Winston Goats, maybe a Hammond, I think maybe you can exploit that weakness.
I feel like the Hammond is tough. I think on the maps that Philly likes to run the Winston Goats, I think it could work. That Horizon defense is pretty nasty with the Winston. I think that I kind of agree. I don't know about Chengdu.
Okay,
I feel like Hammond would struggle against their playstyle, but I see
you
what
can
you mean.
displace him.
You think
can
Man
displace
is the weak
him.
point. I understand.
I do.
And maybe that might be true, but I think that's only because Diva is such a mistake eraser. She can erase all of her own mistakes through a series of like.
So you're still on about this Meko thing?
Yeah, I think Meko is worse than Mana.
Worse?
Yes.
You really think he's worse?
At the roll, yes, I do. I'm not impressed by that.
You wouldn't.
I wasn't impressed last year.
You don't think Mecha is a... Where would you put him? I would say he's 4 or 5 on Diva Play.
I would have said top 6, 5 or 6.
That's not... Well, where do you put Mono then? Mano, however you want to say.
Probably right around the same spot. I think they're pretty even as far as like ranking them in the league in like to other teams. But I think
so. It sounds like what you're saying.
I think Mano
is that you think
has the harder job. I think they both perform equally, but I think Mano has to make less mistakes to perform as well as at the same level as Meko. I think that, like, for example, if Mano made as many mistakes as Meko does, Mano would be dead a lot more. Because I don't think the Rhine can, like, cover up those mistakes as well. That's what I'm trying to get at.
It's true. Bad Rhine play does.
But that's what I also meant by you might be right, but they can probably still exploit Mano because it's really tough to exploit the Diva unless the Diva's feeding her mech. So I think that's an interesting take. I think teams should definitely look into maybe playing the Winston against New York on the match if they have to.
And we're about to actually get into talking about Winston in a hot second here. Yeah. Because if you look at the standings there, what team is third?
No bias here.
No bias is here.
No bias
here. We have no bias towards any teams in this league.
There is zero bias. We are a fair and impartial.
The best and coolest team in the league is currently ranked at number 3.
I mean, they just have the biggest dicks, right? The biggest dick team.
They're massive. They're literally gigantic. And that's the Philadelphia Fusion. Let's talk about the Fusion. I want to talk about the Fusion.
My first point. Pogba.
Sato.
Pogba.
Oh, let's talk about Pogba. You're right.
He's been insane, right? I mean, obviously he's not Jay Jonik, but I think it was on Sideshow Stream that they pulled up the stats of all the Zens. And Boombox consistently in that 5 or 6 spot. And that's not where people would have put him at the start of the year. And that was Philly's weakest role. I would have said Boombox was close to like 8 or 7, maybe even 9 or 8.
Yeah. He was one of the low points of the team.
He was the weak points of the team. And now you've added more teams and he's moved up. So he's exponentially increased his like position compared to other Zens. And also covered up the weak part of Philly Fusion. And I think it shows. What
has impressed me, entry frags, first picks.
Yeah.
Boombox getting quite a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he does have, I was looking at some stats, as I am wont to do. He does die a little bit more than you would like to see in your Zen player. Like, if you look at some of the other, like, very top Zens, Twilight, Jonak, they are dying a little bit less than he is. But everything else is looking really solid.
I'm going to attribute those deaths. Philly is, compared to the average, a more aggressive team.
We are a more aggressive team. They are. No bias here.
No bias.
They are a more aggressive team, and they are a team that tends to play to the level of their opponents, and they do tend to play some very tight matchups with a lot of back and forth action. So you could attribute the deaths to that. Boombox is looking really, really good, though.
The next person I want to talk about. I know you want to talk about Sato. I've got another person.
I do want to talk about Sato.
I've got another person I want to talk about. At the start of the season, whenever they had that show match between New York, right? Philly and New York. And they played GOATs. It was like the first time we saw the pro teams playing GOATs. I watched it. I sat down afterwards. I absorbed all the information because I'm so extremely talented.
Like bringing it in. You're sucking it in.
I realized that although I thought Boombox would be the biggest weakness, the actual biggest weakness in that New York show match was EQO on Brig. And this man has turned it around. I think he has looked phenomenal. I think
phenomenal? Might be stretching it.
You think it's stretching it? I think maybe his play might not be phenomenal, but him as a Brig player is what he needs to do, like talking. I mean, was it Bren?
Oh, true.
That's talking about how much he talks, how much of a leader he is.
Yeah, very true. I'm sure that's comms-wise, we've always known the EQO. That was the whole reason for...
But I think was it Johnny Reinforce talks, or maybe it was Avast. I think it was Avast. Talked about how one of the few things Brig players can do, they can't do a lot, right? They have short range, small shield. One of the things they can do is use their mouth. The players need to talk. And I think EQ is fulfilling that requirement very well as really solid play. And I think that he's looked better every game.
The biggest improvement for me over him being on the brig from that show match, and even from like playoff time when he was on brig, is just covering up like weaknesses and mistakes. Like EQO was a feeder. Let's be honest. He was feeding a bit last year.
He's
when he was on that brig. Not talking his other heroes. I think he's great on some of his other heroes, and I think he's great on brig now. But he was getting picked too much. He just didn't look really confident on the Brigida. And I think while like in the kill feed it's not showing up, you know, you're not seeing massive brig plays because that's just not what the role is. You just don't see him making as many mistakes. And I think that's really where he's improved.
All right, let's talk about Sato.
Sato!
Winston God. Winston God.
He is!
Hot take.
He's incredible.
I've already given you this take before.
Okay.
For everyone in chat. If Sato could have played last season, they win a stage playoff for sure. I give him a stage playoff. I give him maybe the win against New York in the second stage. And I'll even go out on a little bit of a stretch. I don't know if it'd be enough to win them the whole thing. But one of the big things, I've talked about this before, Sato and Poco didn't have the communication.
You're going to talk about the King's Row again.
The King's Row?
Well, you don't have to talk about specifically the King's Row.
Sato had trouble communicating. And I think that if he was able to play with them for the entire season, communication mistakes like that didn't happen. I think we have a much closer finals. I think Philly was actually robbed. And I've talked about this before the season started. Sato got 30 games. 30 games for boosting?
30 games suspension
30
for the
games?
boosting. OG got like what, like 4?
Insane. 3? They assassinated Sato. They tried to kill him, and the man refused.
He was the boss. That's why they had to take him out. I mean, that's all rumors, of course. We don't know anything. We are complete outsiders.
Anyway.
However, okay. Coming to this year again.
Sato
has like
Reinhardt?
Let's talk about his Winston.
Let's talk about his Winston.
Let's wait. I want to talk positives first.
Incredible Winston. He's
really
looked great. He knows when to engage. He knows when to fall back. He engages correctly with cooldowns. Like, he's making all the right plays. He's creating so much space, and he's doing what he needs to do.
And I think Philly just plays better under that comp, too. I think they know their engagements with the Winston. I think when they're playing the Winston Goats, they just look like a much better team.
They do.
And then you go to the Reinhardt.
It's rough.
And then you go to the Reinhardt.
It's rough.
I made a post about it over on my Tumblr at Podomjanek. That I don't really know how else you could say that without directly spelling it out.
I think you did a great job, buddy. I think that was a fantastic job.
Thank you. But I made a post. It was basically like at the start of every single fight, you look at Sato's health, and he's got like 3 little yellow ticks, 3 little white ticks, fucking whatever left.
Yeah.
This guy can't stay alive, and I don't know what it is. But like he gets inside the other team every single team fight, and he's just dying.
I think it's partially shield jumping correctly, knowing what damage has been used. Is the Zen charging a volley? Is the Zarya going to pop bubble deep damage? Where's Brig at? You're going to get stunned, you're going to get hit. Where's the Fire Strike? I think it's all of that, in addition to the fact that I think Sato doesn't always position himself correctly, so he's taking a little extra poke to start. And I think another part of it, the casters were talking about this. No, I don't want to bring them up. Your Overwatch should mention the thing I agree with.
Don't even.
Real quick.
Don't even say it.
They talk about routing, how New York's very good at it, and how some of the best teams are good at it. It's about like how your path to the fight. You have to route yourself correctly, and I think sometimes Philly as a team doesn't route correctly, so they take a little bit more poke. So I think it's a bunch of tiny things that are resulting in tiny little extra poke damage, an extra Zen orb here and there, a Bridget whip shot, a Fire Strike, and when you combine all that together with the fact he's discorded, you get him losing 400 health before the fight starts.
He does lose an absurd amount of health, and I think what that does is that it makes things just much harder on the team overall, obviously, but in ways that like. So you're going into the fight. Let's say this is an ult fight, right? Both teams have like a huge bank of ults coming into this fight, right? Sato, he loses a bunch of health. Let's say the other team grabs then. You're like, okay, what do I do? Do we start popping ults? Do we lose this fight? It was against Paris on Busan. We're like going every single ult fight on that map where teams had ults was like the other team would grab because they would have the ability to get aggressive. They were like, okay, Sato's got no health. Let's Philly just wasn't aggressive enough, and part of that was that their main tank never had any health. And then Carpe would like panic grab, and they would have double grabs going off.
I didn't. Like that.
I think a lot of that, and I think Carpe obviously made a mistake in using those grabs, but I think a part of that is wanting to have an edge or wanting to win those alt fights, and you just can't do it when Sato's at health.
I think that's a good transition into Carpe. Those panic grabs, I think Carpe's a really smart player. He's also very mechanically skilled. I like to chalk those panic grabs. I don't even like calling them panic grabs, but that's kind of what they are. To the point where Philly, I think, is confident that they can win non-alt fights. So, in their mind, they're like, if we use our alts, even if we're losing a fight and can win that fight, we'll win the next fight for sure. And I think their confidence in their regular fights makes them want to use their alts even in a losing fight. Which isn't probably the right play, but I think that's kind of why they do it.
There's a theory. To me, it just looks like dummy bad plays, like 0 IQ plays.
Well, Carpe's a genius and a god. No bias here.
No bias around here. We don't have any bias towards Philadelphia.
Carpe's looked pretty good for the most part. It's hard. It's hard to.
The numbers look like that too. He's looked.
It's hard to shine on that Zarya role because everyone does 1 billion damage on Zarya.
True.
That grab on Rialto, like that's a smart play.
Oh, that was a really pretty grab. If you don't know what we're talking about, you can probably check the clip out. But it was just a really nice,
good
high
positioning.
Grab.
He knew where he was.
With the Sato on Winston goats.
Yep.
Which was also looking.
So Carpe's looked good. Poco.
Poco's always good.
Not as flashy as last year with the bombs, but that's because he's taken more of a carry role.
Okay.
To be honest,
I'm sick. I'm sick and tired of hearing about Poco's bombs because Poco has always been one of the most skilled, most talented divas in the league, and he's just the bomb guy to some people. He's not just the bomb guy. The work he does all around in every part of utilizing Diva's kit is incredible. The guy's great, and all I hear about are these freaking bombs. So I don't want to hear about the bombs. I don't even want to talk about the bombs. Take the bombs out of the equation. To me, he's still a top 3 diva.
The moment that I really recognize Poco, because obviously he was the bomb guy for a while, right? Even to Philly fans, he was the bomb guy. But it was a match. I think it was the match I was at whenever I went to California last summer. I went to one of the playoff matches, and there was a moment where the hog hooked, I think it was Boombox or Carpe or a Squishy, and Poco flies through our Rhine shield, boops the hog back, eats the shot, flies back on high ground, and micros the hog as he's coming back, and it was just such a smooth heads up, instantaneous, he saw it and immediately reacted, and
exactly.
That's such a high level, knowing to boop him, eating the shot, everything. It was just all so very quick, and obviously it sounds oh well, anybody can do that, but in the moment, it was such a quick. The hog was hiding around a corner. It was a quick hook. They didn't really know, and it was just a good reaction. And I think that he's like that anchor. He does that every fight.
Exactly.
He does these tiny things
exactly.
that people don't see.
People don't see it, and Philly has always been known as an inconsistent team, right? If there is one piece of consistency that this roster has always had, it's Poco.
Yeah.
Poco is always doing.
Little negative since we're not biased here. I'd like to see more grab eats, but I think that's more of a Zarya's mistake than good diva play. Except for Fury.
True.
Fury is really good at it.
Fury is good at eating stuff.
All right.
He's hungry, dude. He's hungry.
We don't need to talk too much.
We don't really need to touch on Neptuno. He looks good. Whatever.
He looks solid. Elk, as he had to go out there. That was a tough.
Okay, yeah, we should talk about.
I think Philly missed.
If
I think Philly
Boombox had been playing week 2, Philly would be 7-0, and I wouldn't be hearing all of this nonsense about Philly's not that good. Philly's not that good. Look, I get it. They played some close matches. There's a chance that they're not that good. However, if we're going to talk up teams just based on going undefeated, they should have been undefeated. They would have won both those games. Boombox, while playing, is undefeated so far.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me.
It's true.
People seem to forget, or they seem to discount the fact that it wasn't their starting roster during that. And it makes such a difference, especially when not only is it not the starting roster, it's someone who has not had experience on the big stage, playing in an off role.
And playing in the second most important character in the meta.
Exactly. Anyway, that's enough of a rant. Let's talk about a Toronto
real quick,
Defiant. I have
real
nothing
quick.
to say about these losers.
Real
Oh,
quick.
sorry, you wanted to talk.
Real quick, do you think Philly made a mistake in putting Elk on that off support role?
You think what, they should have put Neptuno?
I mean, you have a guy going on the stage for the first time. The last thing you want to do, a prospect, is shoot his confidence.
I mean, maybe.
Neptuno understands
maybe
what he's doing.
it would
Neptuno
have.
understands the sacrifice. If
Okay, maybe they would have beat Florida. It would have made a difference in the Dallas game, but maybe they would have been able to beat Florida.
I mean, I'm not even talking about wins. I'm just talking like, do you think it might affect the Elk mentally? Do you think that a lot?
Oh, you're saying losing?
Yeah, I mean,
He was pretty casual about it afterwards on Twitter.
people
and
will
stuff.
tell him. People will be like, "It's fine. You're an off-roll buddy. Don't worry about it." But like, you went out there and you're the reason they lost.
And you
the match.
sucked.
And everyone, and you know it. You know it, and
Just kidding.
that's tough for like a player on the first time on the stage, and they don't even get to play their role. People already have ideas of Elk. People think Elk might not be that good now. I mean, he's a really good main support. I just think maybe they should have played Neptuno, who had experience on the stage and would understand that like he's not. It wouldn't shoot his confidence as much. That's just what I was saying.
It's possible. I don't think Elk should have a hard time bouncing back. I mean, the guy's had a lot of success in contenders. He's obviously very good when he's on his role. I'm not like super worried about it.
All right.
Let's talk about Toronto.
Let's talk about-
Who the
You
fuck
don't-
are these guys? I've
You
never heard
don't
of these.
like Toronto? I love Toronto.
No. I mean, I've heard of them. I mean, it's not that I don't like them. Who? Did these guys play any matches? I don't remember watching these dudes.
Yeah, it's
Echo?
weird.
Who?
It's weird to see them at 5-2, isn't it?
It really is.
Like, just
They had a
as-
relatively easy schedule. Not as easy as Philly. Not as easy as Vancouver.
I mean, they played a close match against Houston for 3-2. And that was the only match on week 1. That was week 1. That's like iffy, but they don't have Neko yet. They don't have Neko until week 3. They lose the Atlanta Reign 3-1, and people start going, all right, Toronto Defiant kind of out there, you know. Who
Yeah.
Really? They beat Valiant 2-1. Like, these are close
I mean,
matches.
they beat the fuck out of, or not beat the fuck. They have some wins, some pretty substantial wins over some low tier teams. They beat Chengdu 3-1. Chengdu's not terrible now. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Chengdu's bad. I think they have a lot of potential. They 3-0'd the Spark.
The Spark are the great. Neither is, and Boston's a playoff team, but like at the time, week 3, we weren't really sure of Boston yet.
I feel like we're always saying that about Boston.
They beat Seoul that same week. I know it's weird. It's weird. They didn't have a hard schedule. I wouldn't say they had the easiest. I mean, they didn't have the easiest schedule, but like
Probably
5-2 is 5-2, bro.
Okay. If you wanna like talk these guys up, pipe them up, go ahead. But like, who do they have, bro?
I'm gonna talk them up. Because I like this team. Envy
Okay, go
is
ahead.
still the best off tank in the league.
Envy, dude.
Envy. Best. I said it at
Oh
the
my
start of the year. I said it at the start of the year. His stats with the Valiant when he played were incredible. He was the best off tank at the end from his time played last season. He was better than everyone else. And he is extremely good. He is their best player. He is
What does
their
he
carry.
do? What's so good about him? Tell me.
Everything. He frags, bro.
Everything.
He fucking frags. That's what he does. Let me tell you what this man does. This man fucking kills everyone.
Nah.
He kills everyone, bro.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm positive, bro.
All right, let's.
22 in the limbs? 22 in the league in the limbs?
22 in the league?
Yeah, in the league in the limbs. With all these Zaryas.
Well, what's above him?
walking
Is there
around?
any? Are there any off tanks that aren't
Let me go to the stats real quick.
above him? I do. Stats is so much hard work to find.
Jay Janu and Meko are
Meko,
above in the
dude.
limbs for 10.
Oh, dude. This.
Two undefeated
off
teams.
tank you're talking about? There's
Two
a peak off
undefeated teams. Two undefeated teams.
I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. They rolled Shock, didn't they? They have to play Shock.
Yeah, they have to play shot.
Here, Philly's getting Atlanta. They're getting Shock. I'm gonna tell you exactly what's gonna happen. It's gonna be 3-1 San Francisco Shock. Super is gonna walk all over. He's gonna poop on him. All right. That's
I
about
love
it.
Envy. He may not be the best diva, but I think Envy has been the core player for this team. I think that he's crucial, and he's the best player on this roster.
Oh man, I like Ivy. He's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're all fun, but I mean, fantasy. Have you checked fantasy? Man,
We play Fantasy Overwatch, by the way. We play Fantasy Overwatch, if you're wondering what he's talking about.
In Fantasy Overwatch, Envy's got nutty mad points.
Probably not as much as Izayaki,
No, what?
who's on the last ranked team, by the way.
I'm
last ranked
not
team.
a big
We'll
fan
get
of
there.
Izayaki.
Oh, you're. Oh,
We'll get
bro,
there.
you're-
We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Honestly, don't have much to say about Toronto. So, like, if your
Alright,
little spiel about
I'm-
Envy is all finished,
Neko-
you want to go on? Do you have more to say?
Neko, very
Neko?
good. Neko, very good.
That
I
dude's
like
a
Neko.
backup on any good team.
He was traded from Boston for big cash, and I don't know if he's been exactly worth it. I don't know if Toronto actually paid the $200,000, but I like Neko a lot. I like Neko. I like Envy. I think they're the core of the team right now, in addition with Ivy. I think Yakpung isn't as bad. I think Yakpung could actually give Puckpo a run for his money on Atlanta. I think they're really similar.
Well, yeah, they are kind of bleh.
But I think Toronto is a solid team. I haven't seen enough matches for me to give a huge in-depth, but I think that people are still sleeping on this team, even at 5-2. Still sleeping on this
That's
team.
because no one knows this team, bro. Where is their presence? These guys are forgettable. That's if I could describe the Toronto Define in one word, it's forgettable. Who are they? I've never heard of this team. I don't know how they're 5-2 because I've never seen a single one of their matches. Anyway, let's talk about the Reign.
Real quick, though, Envy, 100 more points than Izayaki in fantasy.
Okay, I don't care. Let's talk about the Reign.
Atlanta Reign, Defran squad.
Yeah, the Defran team.
Well, what is there to say? Great start. Competed against Philly. People thought they were going to be really good. Then kind of shit the bed.
They really got dicked on by the Gladiators, huh?
And Chengdu.
And Chengdu! Chengdu made them look like idiots!
Mm-hmm.
That Horizon map, where they tried... First, Chengdu with what was like quad DPS with Torb on the defense, shuts them down. Completely shuts them out. Bunkers up, shuts them out. Then Atlanta brings out their Defran Bastion. Among just fucking rolls through, blasts the Orisa off the high ground.
It was like
incredible.
It was like the Rock Johnson walking through like a kindergarten picking up children. That's what it looked like.
It's literally okay. Let's talk. Okay, they did poop the bed at the end there. They did. I can say shit. I forgot. We can swear now. They did shit the bed. That is true. However, they looked solid at times. And they have some solid players. Let's talk about those players.
I think Ursa's the
Dogman's
best
a
bird
feeder.
in the league.
I don't even want to hear the name Dogman come up. Dude's a feeder.
You don't like Dogman? You like Kodak?
Dogman's stats, bro. Have you looked at them? He's calling everyone else feeders. The dude, all he does is feed.
I mean, I like
It's Hungry
Dogman.
Hungry Hippos, and Dogman has been chopped up into little white marbles, and he's like,
I think
the other teams are fucking chomping on this.
I think Dogman has high potential, but does feed. I think he's better than Kodak though.
Nah, I think you're wrong.
You're Kodak, bro. Team Kodak. Bro.
I'm Kodak all the way.
That's how you know you're a loser. That's how you know you're a loser when you're on team.
That's not
Kodak.
I have a brain.
Yeah. You mean half a brain, more like it.
That is what I said.
Anyway,
Dogman's a feeder.
I'm Team Dogman. You're Team Kodak. Let's talk about the best brig in the league, Erster.
Can you be a best brig? I mean, how many different ways can you bash and then swing?
What gets me about Erster is I was looking at the stats. Hold on. I gotta go to the team real quick.
Are you gonna bring up the stats again?
Some
You're always
stats,
bringing
some
up the stats. Oh, the
Some
stats
stats,
say
some
that.
stats,
The
some
stats say that.
So you have leading Atlanta Defran at 20.78, then Daco at 20.37, right? Erster
These are
on that
lim-
brig, a limbs per 10. Then you have, or no, not a limbs per 10, a limb per match, I think.
That's
Anyway,
probably limbs per 10.
20 limbs per 10 minutes.
Isn't that's normal?
The pros always have less.
Wait, where's the over? Here, I'll look.
On the
What-
Overwatch
what-
League site. Overwatch League
You're on the
site.
Overwatch. It says it like right above where the stats are. It said. Wait.
Yeah, all stats are all right. Anyway, so 20.
Yeah, average per 10.
20 per 10. So 20.37. You have Urster on that brig roll, on that no mobility, no high charge at 20.36. 0.01 away from Daco, and what, like 0.4 away from DeFran? These guys are on Diva and Zarya, and he's keeping up pace on the brig?
So the dude can swing a little flail thing through multiple people. That doesn't tell me anything.
No, but then not every brig is like that, bro. It's tough for brigs to keep up. Not a lot of brigs do that.
Fine. I'll give you Urster. All right.
I like Urster.
He's strong. He's a strong player. Where's their carry? Is it DeFran? Is DeFran supposed to be the carry on this team? This team doesn't have a carry.
They don't. I mean, people are going to tell you it's DeFran.
People are going to say it's DeFran.
What's your response to that?
I don't know. He looks okay. I mean, I guess his stats were
stats
good
say
when they
he's
were
even
doing
better.
well.
The stats say
Yeah.
he's better, but I'm in the same group as you. I don't think DeFran's all that good. I think he's a
Like
really solid Zarya.
Yeah, no, okay, don't get me wrong. Do I personally not like DeFran? Yes. Do I think that he is bad at Zarya? No. Do I think he's a carry at Zarya? Also no.
I know.
I think he's just solid.
Masa, bro.
Oh, you're right! I mean, as much as you can carry.
Masa's the carry.
But, no, Masa is really, really good.
Masa really
You make
good.
an excellent point.
Urster very, very good. What do you think of Pogba? From what you've seen?
Akbo? I mean, he's not a feeder.
Because a lot of people wanted to put Gator on, but I think it was Elk on Side's stream was like, no. Gator, exploitable. That was the word he used. Exploitable.
Exploitable. I don't think Pokpo's been exploitable, so if that makes him better than...
You think Pogba's top 10 main tank?
I mean, I don't have a list of every main tank in front of me, but I would say probably, yeah. I would say he's... I mean...
Pogpo interests me. The Pogpo Daco line, very interesting tank line. I don't know if it's strong enough to win a championship.
I think at the end of the season, you'll probably see Atlanta around 6th to 8th.
I would say
To be honest, 8 or 9. I think they had a strong start to the stage. I think as time goes on, they're going to start looking weaker. Now, we don't know what next stage will bring comp-wise. So there's a lot that could change between now and then. Going off what we have seen, though, I'm not sold. I'm not sold on the Atlanta
I'm going to double
reign.
down. Tracer meta, DeFran gets duded on.
You don't think he's going to be good on Tracer?
I think he gets duded on. I'm probably wrong about that one. I'll even admit that one's far off. I'm still going to say it.
You're going to say it. You see, I'm tempted to disagree with you. 'Cause again, I'm not a big fan of the guy. However, I'm going to reserve my judgment because he can really aim his thing over people as it moves. So, you know,
That's true.
that is kind of what you're looking for in a Tracer player.
I will say my biggest worry about DeFran was that he wouldn't be able to handle the pressure. And he's looked good so far. He looks like he's having fun. He looks relaxed. So
It's true, and he hasn't like imploded like an XQC type. So
yeah.
one stage down, and we don't have a single DeFran controversy. So
I mean, yeah, that's what 3 times less than what XQC had.
yeah, so that's the reign for you.
Watch
next,
out for Urster, Masa.
Yeah, Masa's sick.
Next up
we
same
have
the
super
team.
good or super bad.
Nah,
Fire, over to you.
I love Super.
Super good.
Super good. Final verdict. Super good. I mean,
I agree with you.
This team. Let's be honest. I have a
They've
lot of good to
underperformed.
say. That's exactly what I was going to. I was like, I have a lot of good to say. So let's start with the bad. From what this team should be doing, underperformed. Sinatra needs to stop feeding divas with his grab. That's a no-no.
He does like to just kind of throw it in their mouth, huh?
They're struggling on the brig
It's like
roll.
he's at a hibachi, and he's the hibachi chef, and he's flipping fucking grabs like they flip broccoli into your mouth. He's fucking,
Yeah,
that's Sinatra, man.
Sinatra's beating all the divas this stage. But he's got good aim, and that's all Zarya's, I guess, really need. I don't know. I don't think he's a top Zarya. They're having trouble finding the brig roll. There's apparently a Rascal Architect dilemma. They keep
I feel like
pushing him
Sinatra
out.
does a lot of damage, though. I feel like I saw a statistic where he does a lot of damage.
Let's check the stats real
Good
quick.
for him. Good for him, if that's the case. Who does a lot of damage on Zarya? I just saw a graph about it.
So, San Fran, I mean, Sinatra is miles ahead of everyone else on his team.
Okay.
The next closest guy is about 4,000 away.
That's a lot.
He's
That's
at,
a lot. So
he's
he
at
can
13-4, and the next best is at 9-1.
he can fling those broccoli grabs all he wants, because in the meantime he's got a fucking onion volcano of damage towered up on the fucking grill.
Yeah, he's saucing some stuff around that hibachi grill. That's
For sure.
So he's their stronger of their two DPS, and the fact I don't consider him one of the top Zaryas, maybe I should, but they're having trouble with the brig roll. They're having trouble with the brig roll. They're swapping in Rascal for Architect. They don't seem to be set. Architect's the better player. I think everyone knows it.
I mean, they should have kept Dante.
However,
Sombra.
apparently Architect doesn't talk as much as Rascal, and as I mentioned earlier, one of the things the
That
Brigs
is
need
very
to do,
important
run their
for
mouth.
Brig.
So Rascal apparently does that, but I don't think they've got a really strong Brig player. And then I want to quickly talk about Choi
Choi Yobin.
and Nevix. I guess they both have played, honestly.
And Nevix.
How do you feel about them? Do you even? They haven't stood out to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. Honestly, when you asked me that question, I was like, don't ask me that question, because I don't have anything to say.
I don't know anything about them. Let's see stats real quick. Let's see who the better diva is real quick.
These guys are the Toronto Defiant of
So-
playing for the San Francisco Giants.
So Choi's at 19 limbs, and Nevix is at 17-3. Choi dies about a half a death less and does more damage. So Choi's the better.
Choi good.
Choi good, but I don't know. I don't think he's been that great. He hasn't stood out to me. I think he's solid, and maybe that's all the Shock really need with all their star power. So let's move on to some of their stars. Super, my boy.
Super.
You guys should go watch his stream. He's very good.
He's funny. He's funny
He's
as shit.
great
We're going to have him on the show someday.
One day.
He's going to be here. We're going to get him on.
Yeah, we'll talk all about his big brain plays that he makes constantly. The super bad graph, man, I feel like that ticked him off. I really do. I think it pissed him off. He made a joke about it with they're lacking the critical information. I think it pissed him off. I think they inspired a demon, a beast.
A beast. There was a beast lurking inside his 14-year-old looking face, and it was
little boy
unleashed.
face.
His little tiny
boy
baby boy face. It has now been unleashed under the league.
So the league has to grapple with a hot super right now, and I mean, I don't want to say it's the end, but is this the end for Smurf? Did the Smurf experiment fail then? Do we call it a failure with Super being hot? I mean, he was super struggle in the beginning, and they put Smurf in.
I was never a fan of the Smurf experiment, so.
Me either. I thought it was strange that they traded Dante for Smurf whenever you have Super. It seemed like a mistake. Let's once again check the stats real quick here on Super and Smurf. I mean, Smurf is worse. He dies 0.3 less, but Super's doing almost 1,000 more damage than him and has an Elim on him. Super's just the better main tank. I feel like right now, the Shock, who have 5 DPS and a tank player they really don't need, kind of should be looking to make some trades. But one of the pickups that I want to talk about,
We're going to talk about Violet, bro?
we're going to talk about one of the best Zens in the league, Violet.
Yeah. We should be talking about how he's on the bench!
Violet?
No! You know what I'm talking about.
I'm talking about the best Zen on the San Francisco Shock, the Violet.
Yeah, we should be talking about how one of the best Zens in the league is playing for them, while one of the best Zens in the league also rides the pine for them.
The
wasn't-
Sleepy's in a tough spot here. He's just not better than Violet. He's just not. And that's really a difficult situation. Sleepy is pissed about it. He doesn't like it. So I'm going to talk about something that I feel like Monty brought it up. I had been saying this to my close friends. None of you will believe me. But
I just held this up to my mouth. This lighter, I almost just burnt my lip off.
wow, that's real fucked up, bro.
Yeah, no, go on.
I have been saying this for a while, and nobody listens.
Okay.
They should trade Sleepy.
I mean, they should.
They should trade Sleepy. There's a couple teams that could really use a strong Zen player. I think Guido's looked weak, so Washington's a good opportunity. Sleepy would start there. There was another team. Oh, Houston.
You wanna ship him off to Washington?
I want to ship him to Houston.
Get rid of Raucus? Yeah, go ahead.
Raucus is booty. I mean, you could even get.
It'll be the ultimate revenge for the World Cup.
I think Sleepy is gonna leave in the Shock to try to get value right now because Sleepy is good.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I think he would start on a lot of other teams.
I just think Violet's a top 3 Zen right now statistically.
No, Violet is extremely good. I agree with you.
So
I think they've got a difficult situation on their hands.
no coach likes to be in that.
I don't know.
spot.
You'd think like teams want to get value, but at the same time, like last year, like Philly was just like, yeah, okay, see ya, Shadowburn.
Goodbye, Hotba.
Goodbye, Hotba. I think there's more to it than just trying to find value out of players. I think sometimes what's best for the organization is to just let them
I
go.
mean, I think maybe that's just because the league's young right now, and trading and like finding players. And honestly, hot take here, I don't think teams understand like schemes. I don't think schemes are the right word. Like players, how not all players fit into every team system. Certain players do well in certain systems. In hockey, this is a big thing. In football, they talk about it with quarterbacks and the type of offense the coach runs. There is certain players that excel in certain like teams, and there are players right now that look bad because they're on the wrong team. And if you were to put them on the right team, they would look better. I don't know what those players are. I don't know how you can tell. I am not a smart man, but I know that's a thing. So as the league develops and grows and you get more and more resources put into it, teams are going to start realizing, hey, this guy would work really well on our team. This is the type of player we want in our system. Let's pick him up, and then you'll start seeing trades. But now...
And then you'll see Sleepy to Houston.
And then you'll see Sleepy. I mean, would he fit in the system? I don't fucking know. Sleepy should probably be in a system where he's played around. Maybe that's one of the reasons why Violet's better. I don't think they play around Violet. I think they play around Sinatra.
I do agree. I don't know. I think I could see Sleepy in the black and green.
So, I think you might not see Sleepy traded. Maybe he'll just get dropped. But I think that's why we don't see trades right now. But we need to move on real quick. Striker. Weird pickup, right? Why?
Yeah.
You have 4 DPS. You have Sinatra. Is this Tracer really not good enough for you?
Sinatra.
Why pick up Striker? What is the Shock's plan? I don't want to say this, because the Shock are looking good.
Well, hang on, dude. What? Big brain.
Big brain, go ahead.
I don't know. I thought I had big brain, but they just have so many DPS. They've got Sinatra to play the Tracer. They've got Architect to play the Widow. They've got Rascal.
I mean, was
Baby Bay? Who's playing Sombra?
Was Striker's Widow even that good? Like,
well, no, but I'm saying like the pickup could make sense, but then they really can fulfill like all of the DPS that are getting played right now. Like, what are you gonna do with Striker? Put him on Pharah? What are you doing?
More like Banana Brain. Listen.
That's true.
Listen. I think the Shock are like the teams in football and hockey that want to make that big free agent splash, and they're like, this guy had a lot of points. We should pick him up without thinking, how does he fit into the system? Once again, system. The team system didn't need Striker. They probably overpaid for Striker. They don't need him. They're not going to play him.
Maybe they want to trade him.
And I mean, even if you go Striker's Tracer's better than Sinatra, you're going to bench Sinatra, the guy you spent $120,000 on?
You're gonna bench him? Well,
Losing
what are you gonna do?
value. Use your
him on
money.
Sombra?
Use your slots wisely. They have no reason to have Striker. I expect Shock to dump some of these DPS. I think 2 are going. I think Rascal and Striker are both going to go.
You think Rascal
I think Architect's the better...
over Baby Bay?
Baby Bay's a hit scan player.
They're gonna what? They're gonna put him on Soldier?
I think maybe you're right. Maybe they drop 3. I mean... Oh, no, Architect Sinatra, I think, is fine. Maybe... Okay, maybe you keep Striker and drop Baby Bay Rascal? No, you don't need Striker.
No, you keep Rascal.
You keep Rascal. I'm a Pepega brain. You keep
Yeah.
Rascal. You drop Baby Bay and Striker. Probably what's going to happen, right? That makes the most sense.
I mean, that's what makes the most sense in my opinion.
And the other
Yeah.
thing, real quick, they have a full roster. They can't add any new players without dropping any players. So like, this is their team right now. There will be no
That is the
additions.
team. Did I close out my window of the teams? Or wait, no, I was watching on Twitch. I'm watching us. Okay.
Next team,
Next
team.
Soul.
Clown Dynasty.
The clowns themselves.
The Clown
By the way,
themselves.
I am going over to watch some hockey like now-ish. So I'm saying we do Seoul and we knock out Seoul and Boston really quick, and then that's gonna be today's episode because we can touch on these other lads some other time.
We have a lot to talk about. Whenever we do this one time, though, we won't have to repeat as much of stuff, and it will be faster in the future for sure.
True.
So
True.
let's go. Let's do speed run here. Speed run in Overwatch League.
Speedrun Soul Dynasty.
Zumba. Who cares about him? He got a little playtime. We don't need him.
Jaehong, who?
Jesuke.
Don't know them.
Jesuke better than Toby. Good addition. Good pickup. Toby,
Yeah, Jesuke.
bench player, dropped after the season. Marvel, you have Fisher, bro. Why do you need Marvel?
Fisher looking good, dude.
Fisher?
He beat the fuck out of London.
Fisher?
I loved
Fisher, the type of player every team needs. He's bloodthirsty, bro. He wants to fucking kill.
He's
everyone.
hungry.
He is hungry. I love to see it. Love Fisher. Huge.
You love
Fisher
to look
fan.
at him.
Huge Fisher
no.
fan.
Fisher looks good.
Jaehong Zen. I thought he was doing pretty well. The stats on
Yeah.
Sideshow Stream said otherwise, though. He wasn't looking that
Yeah.
great.
No.
I think Zen isn't his role, but he's doing all right. He's okay. He's got a lot of fantasy points. Michelle, better than Zumba, very good. Like Michelle, my favorite
Michelle,
pickup
dude.
besides Fisher.
Yes, Michelle, good.
Fleta, looking all right on the Zarya.
Yeah.
Making a comeback. Definitely better than he looked last year. I would say.
Yeah, he was definitely shaky at times last year. I think the whole squad together when they're at their peak.
It's
Fifth?
dangerous.
Fifth? Fourth?
Dangerous. I would say
they're-
dangerous for
okay,
sure.
they're-
Upsets.
Okay,
definitely.
they're dangerous, but when the cards all fall, like, can they get an upset over possibly any team in the league? I would say so.
I mean,
when the cards
who do you have
fall
this
in-
for? Philly? Is Philly 4 for you?
Honestly, I'm just kind of I'm spitballing this.
Gotcha.
I don't have like
I mean-
a list in front of me.
I think Seoul could beat Philly. I don't think Seoul could beat Shock. Vancouver
You
or
think
New
they
York.
could beat them in a game or in the standings?
in a game?
You don't think Seoul? I could definitely see Seoul upsetting any of those three teams.
I mean, Seoul. I mean, upsetting maybe, but they look a little inconsistent for me. There's some
I
inconsistencies.
mean, they did just get beat up, but apparently that was the B team. What is the B team? Everyone's
they-
talking about this B team.
They play Fitz. They bench Fisher and Fleta, and Michelle.
Apparently they played the B team in the match today, or that's what I saw from one source. So unconfirmed, but a possibility.
The B team is benching Fisher, Fleta, and Michelle for Marvel, Fitz, and Zumba. Oh, and Jesuke for Toby. It's a real B team. It's a real bunch of Vegas.
Yeah.
Munchkin, his brig doesn't stand out to me. And then real quick, just no. I don't know what I'm trying
Munchkin's
to say.
been solid though. Not like
I want to notice
not a
real quick.
weakness.
They picked up Illicit on damage and Highly on support. Don't know these guys. Never seen them play. We'll be curious to see how they incorporate into a now
nothing.
12-man
Okay.
roster. Interesting to have a 12-man roster.
they have scrims, internal scrims.
Eternal scrims. That's
There's a
big deal.
true B team, bro. There's a true B team.
That was part of the reason I think Philly was able to be so successful sometimes. Boston
Okay.
Uprising.
Boston Fusions. Let's talk about it.
I love fusions. I love my boy.
Yeah, you saw him in the World Cup, and it was like, okay,
This guy's
he's
this guy's
good,
got something.
but this is World Cup. He comes into the league, he's looking really good. I hate when they cut to his face cam, though. He always looks really angry when he's talking, and I don't know why. You ever see when they cut to his face cam? Like, you ever notice that?
I mean, I'm just staring into his face right now. So square, bro.
It's a very square head, and he's always like, I just see him going. Like every time they cut to his face cam between rounds, he's talking
his
so
voice.
much.
He loses his voice.
So much.
He's screaming.
He is really good at playing main tank, though.
Really good main tank. I think Aim God has been a really strong zone.
Aim God! He's really good.
I really
love
like Aim God. I said at the start of the season, I really liked Aim God. Alamau has looked really solid. He's really, really representing, I think, whenever he gets out there.
Alamau, dude. He was... Did I release that video? I released that video, so I get to say I called that.
Yeah, you did. I remember you talking about you saw him.
I liked Alamau. Yes. No, definitely. Who else this team got?
Axiom Booty.
Yeah.
Fusion's better. Note's good. He's always been good.
Yeah, Note's always been good.
Note.
Why does this team have so many good players? Hello?
They've always had these good players, bro.
I don't remember that. I feel like they're supposed to be shit.
I think it really comes down to the fact that are Blase and Color X really the DPS you want to run with? You know, really? Are you sure?
Yeah. That is kind of iffy.
So what? Color Hex plays the Zarya, Blase plays the Brig. Like, not really impressed by them. This is a team carried by your support and tanks. Let's be real.
Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like they're really solid in those roles. And where are they going to be playing? They're going to be playing Vancouver. Oh, wait, no. Yes. No.
Yes.
Yes. They're going to be playing Vancouver. Please. Win.
Upset.
I would love to see that. I would love to see Boston beat Vancouver. And I don't think it's off the table. I think it's like paper football, and you just got a touchdown because you got flicked it, and it's like just hanging right off the edge. It's like almost it fell off, but it's hanging there. It's still on the table. It's just kind of wobbling like in a movie. You know, you like in a movie when like a car is hanging off a cliff and it's like, that's kind of where they're at right now, but I could see Boston upsetting Vancouver.
It could happen. Anyway, very interesting top 8 right now, these playoff teams. I mean, there's a lot of good teams that we don't get to talk about because they're out of the playoffs right now. But
we'll touch on them later, though.
Number 10. What's real quick? Strongest team in the playoffs right now? New York, right?
Yes, easily.
Weakest team? Do you go Toronto?
Toronto!
I'm going to go... Weakest team doesn't mean the team that's going to lose. I'm going to... Fuck. I guess I have to go Toronto, don't I? No,
you wouldn't say Boston. Atlanta?
I was going to say Atlanta. Atlanta, Boston, Toronto are my picks right now.
Those are my bottom 3.
Atlanta is
cold potentially.
Right, but Atlanta has shown that they can play well. So it's tough for me to say that they're bad. But current Atlanta, the Atlanta we saw last week, struggling again, losing to Chengdu, not doing very well against Houston, that Atlanta is the worst team in the playoffs.
For sure. I mean, they the Spark. How are the Sparks so high?
They're not, are they?
I mean, they're 13th. They're above Shanghai, London, Chengdu, Paris.
Oh, I'm gonna talk about Shanghai. We can't.
We can't.
Next time.
I have to leave right now. Actually.
All right.
We should do a little bit of an outro just for the YouTubes. Thank you for watching this video. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, leave a comment, let us know your thoughts down below. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go follow us on Twitch. Every episode of GTFO will now be streamed live on Twitch as we discuss. So be sure to go do that. We didn't get any comments today. Any chat questions?
Yeah, thanks, chat.
Thanks, chat. Or if there were any viewers at all. But we'll get there. Super's coming. Super's going to be on the show.
Super's going to be on the show. Mark my words.
Yeah.
I'll come with banana brain to his face.
You should keep showing. Make sure to keep showing up because Super's going to be here one of these days.
Yeah, one of these days. Super's going to be here, and you're going to miss it if you're not watching it.
Again, thank you. Thank you very much. This has been GTFO. I'm Gryf.
I'm Fireclaw.
Thank you. Good job. We'll see you in the next episode.